Hey guys, today's podcast episode is going to be all about cold emailing. So we're talking about prospecting a lot this month and some high-level strategies you all can use to make your business work, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, a podcast where we teach speakers how to land paid speaking engagements and corporate contracts. Each week, we deliver high-quality content that teaches you how to level up your speaking business. Be sure to join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group after having your mind blown by this information-filled episode. Now, here's your host, Ashley Kirkwood, lawyer and professional speaker. This is the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
All right, guys, so I want to go through and get some stats out there. One of the things that I did recently was I read this article that talked about some cold emailing statistics that sales teams and businesses need to know. And as you all know, I'm huge on data and statistics, and I know for a fact that this data will really help you all to learn a little bit more about prospecting and emailing and how to do it best. And there's some strategies in here that I really like. So one of the stats that I read relates to email marketing. If you include the recipient's name in the subject line, it can increase your open rates by 22.2%. And this is an article by Propeller, and I'll be sure to link it in the show notes. Here's the thing. When I'm doing email marketing to my list, that means people who have subscribed to my email marketing list, I definitely try to include their name in the subject line. It does help. It grabs their attention. They're a little bit more interested. When I'm prospecting to college clients, I do not always include their name in the subject line. My subject lines are relatively short. Now, a little bit later in this article, they talk about how having a short subject line, such as quick question, received twice, if not more, of the results, open results, than those email subject lines that were a little bit longer. And let me try to find the exact quote from the article. Okay. So when they had a quick subject line of quick question, they received 66.7% of the total replies, while the more detailed subject line only received 33.3% of replies. So they did a test and basically sent out these two separate emails to the same, to people. And the subject line that was the shortest received twice as many replies as a longer, more detailed subject line. Sometimes when you're writing a subject line to these decision makers, they're busy, and the subject line can be indicative of the length of the email. There's all this data out there that states the shorter your email, the more likely you are to get a response. People are inundated with emails. So there is a science to figuring out how you're going to craft your email subject, your email body, the follow-up replies, and more. And one thing I want to point out, when you all are pitching someone cold, or you have a question about a conference, using quick question as your subject line is totally fine, because you really do have a quick question. And your first email may just be, hey, are you still in charge of booking speakers for XYZ conference? That's a yes or no answer. Now, they may say yes reluctantly because they feel like there's a pitch coming on. So you could say, like, are you still in charge of booking speakers for XYZ conference? I'm really interested in speaking this year, but didn't see a speaker registration link. Let me know. Is that still you? ? Here's the other thing that I do that that wasn't really talked about in this particular article. I always end the email with the question I want answered. If you write a whole email, the question is embedded in the middle of the email, and then at the end, it's like, okay, have a great day. Like, you don't care if they have you care if they have a great day, right? But like, that's not what you want their last impression of your email to be. You want the last impression of the email to be something that is simple, easy to remember, and easy to respond to. So first off, set your intentions early in the email and ask the question that you want them to answer, in my opinion, should be the last thing that they see. Now, let's talk about why my opinion matters. Like, am I even good at this, etc. One of the another statistic in here says that depending on your industry, the average email open rate varies from 15% to 28% on the highest end. From 15% to 28% on the highest end. And you'll see in the article they break out some different industries professional services is probably the industry that most of us will fall in. It's around 20% or so. So you want to look at the industry average. Now, I use HubSpot for my email sequences, et cetera, and we'll see whether that'll be the CRM that'll be supporting the conference this year, or whether we'll be working with another CRM provider to provide a better experience. I'm researching the best CRM for speakers right now. If that is you or someone you know, please reach out to me, because we are researching that now. Now, here's the thing. What I like about HubSpot is it allows me, and they are not a sponsor of this podcast as of yet, it allows me to see what my open rate is and compare it to the industry average. So you all already heard the industry average is between 15 to 28%. The pitch emails I send to colleges have an average open rate of 66%. 66%. Okay? That's good. That's way above industry average, way above industry average. And I use a really short, quick subject line. Now that email actually tells me, because I have an email sequence. The actual sequence that I send to colleges is available in the Speak Your Way to Cash live replay. So if you're interested on that, then we'll definitely make sure to get you that information so that you have it. In fact, let's go to a commercial break really quick. Hey guys, it's Ashley Kirkwood here, and I know this is an amazing interview, and if you are someone who is interested in taking your speaking career to the next level, then do I have something for you? Okay, I need you to go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay. That's ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay. The link is also in the show notes that you can grab the Speak Your Way to Cash live replay, which has 7 modules, a ton of information about how you can start speaking your way to cash. Now, this training is absolutely action-packed, phenomenal. It has additional resources. It has templates. It has a podcast pitch template, a college pitch template, something you can send to media outlets to get on television. It has everything you need to develop a sales strategy, a press strategy, and a plan to skyrocket your speaking career. And it is crazy affordable, okay? So head on over there right now, ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay, and grab your copy today. All right, let's get back to this interview. Okay, so now you know where to get the Speak Your Way to Cash live replay from, which is great. You also know a little bit more about, that program, and it has in there a variety of pitch templates, including a pitch template that I use to get booked on podcast, which has really helped my business grow, my law firm grow, Mobile General Counsel. But notice that I can tell you guys succinctly, based on the client relationship management tool that I use, what my open rates are. You have to know those numbers so that you can improve. If my open rate was under 20%, it was under 15% for the email sequences that I'm sending out, that's a problem that I need to rectify, because it means I'm doing worse than the industry. Because it is so much higher than industry average, I know that the problem isn't the subject line of my email. However, if I weren't getting any responses, then I would be like, okay, well, now I need to look at the content of my email. Now, another thing that you can do that we've done and that HubSpot allows you to do, and some of the other email providers allow you to do, is test the different subject lines. And also, you want to make sure that you're testing different types of subject lines. So longer versus shorter, some that are a little bit more targeted versus those that are a little bit more general. You also want to make sure that you have a way to actually follow up with those people, because sending follow-up emails can triple your reply rate. What does that mean? Sending follow-up emails can triple your reply rate. And what this propellercrm.com blog stated was that with the cold email campaigns in particular, the number of emails in a sequence affects how many responses you're likely to get. So campaigns with 4 to 7 emails per sequence received 3 times more responses than campaigns with only 3 emails in a sequence. Let me break this down and let me tell you why this is gold. What some of these CRMs allow you to do, these client relationship management tools, they allow you to do a sequence of emails. So that means I press the send button once, and if they don't respond to my first email, in 3 days, they get a second email. In 5 days or 2 days, however you'd like to set it, because you can determine that, they get a second or third email. Then the next day, they get a third email. Then after that, they get a fourth email, etc. It can go on forever. What this finds is that you should have at least 4 emails in your sequence, and you will get 3 times more responses. Those emails, those campaigns with 4 to 7 emails per sequence receive 3 times more responses than campaigns with only 1 to 3 emails in a sequence. Because when you think about these numbers, what you need to know is just because 67% of people opened my email, it doesn't mean 67% of people responded to my email, okay? And in fact, what I see on the back end is that whereas only like with the first email, there's about 4% of people that respond, and that email is a lot longer, right? After I send out that first email, the response rate goes to 6%. At the second email 2 in the sequence, 6% of people respond. Then there's a third email in the sequence. We get about 6% of people to respond to that. And of the 14% of people that responded to my college pitch email sequence, I'm also able to see that all of the people that responded almost clicked on my information and saw my website. So the people who clicked on that information, saw that website, thought that whatever they saw was good enough to get them to respond. That's great. And then from there, I'm able to convert those people to sales. Now, what you want to keep in mind is I actually send out a lot of emails to people that I don't know, right? And so I'm doing a lot of cold emailing to get this stuff done. And I have a high open rate. The response rate is a little bit lower. Most people are opening it. But what you also have to account for with cold emails is that a lot of these folks who I email based on this list they may not be the actual decision maker. So the email is just irrelevant to them. So they can open it, but they're not going to respond. And what we know now, I have a 3-part email sequence. What we know now is that 4 to 7 emails actually make things a little bit better. And I interviewed a guy on my podcast. I'm going to check out the name of it. But basically, we talked about emailing. Oh my gosh, his name is escaping me. He wrote The Introvert's Edge. Really, really, really great guy. But anyways, check out one of my older episodes because I talk through this with one of the people who was on my show. And what we found is that he sends out a 12-part email sequence to anyone that joins his email list because he found that those 12 parts really make a difference. So they're saying 4 to 7 for cold emails and leads. He's saying send out 12 emails. Matt Pollard, there we go, got his name. Send out 12 emails for someone who joins your emailing list, who's interested in hearing from you. Like, so when you get that first welcome to this email list, there should be 12 or 11 emails that follow after that in order to increase engagement and convert the person over into someone who's willing to buy from you. So that's just something to consider. All of these numbers really just help you make informed decisions about what your email sequences need to be. So first step is you got to prospect, right? You have to find the people that you're going to email. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but it depends totally on the market that you're searching for. So you're not like Googling paid speaking engagements. What you're really looking for is what is the job title of the person that you would be pitching to that would potentially hire engagements? What is their job title? And once you find that initial job title, what are some synonyms for that job title? Meaning, what are all the different names they can be called? From there, you can use LinkedIn, you can use Google, you can call the different institutions and ask for that job title, etc. You have a lot of different ways to get those leads. And you also, at that point, once you have that information and you know it's correct, can outsource the research and the lead gathering to someone else. That way you're spending your time on the high level sales strategy, the content of what you want your team to send out or what you will be sending out versus doing the grunt work of finding those individuals. Now, there's another way to prospect. You can find the event versus finding the person who hires for organizations. Now, keep this in mind. If I am looking to speak at conferences where a lot of my ideal client will be, I first need to know who that ideal client is. So now I typically am spending my days talking to human resource directors and all synonyms for that title. because I do corporate speaking, I'm a lawyer, I do sexual harassment training, etc. And so the compliance side of things either is with the chief compliance officer or maybe it's with the human resources director. Sometimes that person is one and the same. Sometimes they're general counsel and also the HR director. So it varies, but there are some titles that you see over and over and over again. I have a LinkedIn Sales Navigator now, so it's a lot easier for me to, sort through who's who and find lists of people that I should be connecting with and or interacting with. I'm thinking of doing a workshop solely on LinkedIn for speakers because it's been game changing for me this year, but stay tuned for that. Essentially though, and we are going to cover it in detail at the 2020 Speakers Retreat. So make sure you're in the building for that. Go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com /2020 retreat. That retreat is going to be crazy. I can't even wait for it. But back to the point. When you're prospecting, you need to have that job title. Then you can do it by the event. So then you're looking for like events for HR directors, events for, college activities directors, etc. But you want to have your core job title and then like 10 synonyms for it so that you're able to start prospecting correctly and appropriately. Then you want to figure out how you're going to connect with them, what you're going to say. And this involves, I recommend sending out an email sequence. I don't recommend just sending out one little email and hoping for the best. Like there really should be a sequence, whether it's 3 parts or 4 parts, etc. Having any parts is better than only having one email because people prioritize. Think about it. Wherever you are in your life right now, listening to this podcast, let's say you get an email and it's a cold email from someone trying to sell you something that you may want, something that you may not want, something that you may not even care about, but you may need it later. What would they have to say to get you to respond? Think about that. What would they have to say to get you to respond? What would they have to say? I don't get pitched a lot, but I'm a business owner, so someone that could pitch me is like a virtual assistant company. What would they need to say to get me to respond? Well, for me, I would need to know about the price. I'd need to know about the process, and I'd need to know about whether I would have a dedicated VA or whether this is some company I'd be working with different people each time. And I would like to know that in the first email before I even respond, because quite frankly, for a lot of the virtual assistant industry is commoditized in some way. So you want to know about those things. You don't want to, and you want to know about the value, right? Like, what have they done for clients? If there were a company that was a VA company and they pitched me and they were like, yeah, we've worked with 1,500 speakers in the past and all of them have increased their bookings by 50% after working with us, then I'm responding. I don't care what their price is. I'm like, all right, well, I'll bite. Like, let's talk. So you want to think through what would it take for you to respond, and then be thoughtful about what does your client's email inbox look like? If they are, for me, like HR directors, they are inundated with emails from who? From their CEO wanting an update about hiring for the new position on whatever. They're looking for the managers from all different departments are calling them about people who didn't show up to work, who may need assistance. They have a lot of fires to put out every single day. What is it about my email that's going to get them to take 5 or 10 minutes out their day and respond? So really be empathetic about what your client is going through. And to think through that, you need to figure out how they talk, how they think, who they are, where they are, what their title is, what their companies look like. You can target it. You can target also companies of a certain size. So you may not want to work with smaller companies where people are too overwhelmed. You may want to focus on companies with at least 500 employees. There's a way to target and do that. So you want to think through the targeting and the prospecting, and then you want to think through what you're going to say on the email subject. I think shorter subject is better. And then you want to figure out what you're going to say in the body of the email. I recommend starting off introducing yourself while you're emailing them. Second sentence, you want to intrigue them. Third sentence, you want to give them the body of what you want. And then you want to end it with a clear call to action. Okay? A clear call to action. So not, can we talk today? No, we can't talk today because I don't know you. But do you have time to chat for 15 minutes next Wednesday? Far better. And include a link for them to schedule their own call. They may or may not. But I like to include a link for people to schedule their own call. And then I also like saying something like, I'm happy to schedule directly with you. If you don't want to click the link, I totally understand that. Do you have time Wednesday at 2? Otherwise, the link's right here. My schedule is up to date. Do you have a link that I could use to put time on your calendar? So you want to be deferential, but you also want to think through, because the thing with me, I'm very busy. A lot of you listening are very, very busy. So when someone comes to you and has a request of you that at the outset looks like it only benefits them, you're more likely to say yes when it is very easy for you to say yes. So what I am doing and what I am always thinking about is how can I make it like painfully easy for this person to give me a yes? How can I make it easy for them to give me a yes? And most people in the world, you have to assume, this is a mindset thing, that most people want to help. Most people want to help. They want to see you win. They want to see what's best for you in their lives, but they don't want to do it at the detriment of themselves. So if what you are offering will help them further their agenda and you won't waste their time, you're respectful, and you have your processes in place, you're going to be far more successful. And so when you get on that call, then you need to have your sales script down. We have a sample sales script in the Speak Your Way to Cash live class, and we'll be going over sales in depth at the conference. It's always a topic at all of my events because it's never something that you do once and then you just throw it away. It's always going to be something that you're constantly improving upon. So we're always going to talk about sales, but you want to have a sales script so that you are asking each person that you prospect with the same questions, because if you do that, you will, even if they get on the phone with you and they never hire you, every single call should still be valuable because you should be learning more about the industry that you are seeking to serve. You should know what conferences they're a part of. You should know how they like to hire speakers, what processes they like, whether or not you need to provide your own contract, whether or not they have a contract, just some minor details. And based on how the conversation progresses, that may determine what questions you ask each time. But there are some core questions that you are going to want to ask them each and every time. But when it comes to cold emailing, the goal of it isn't to book an engagement straight from the email. The goal is to get them, the goal is to go from cold email to conversation to conversion. Cold email, conversation, then conversion. So you want to go from this person doesn't know me to, oh, they're kind of interested in me, to, oh, they want to hire me. And even if they don't hire you this time, you want to find out every single event for which they utilize services such as yours. So somewhere on that call, you need to be asking them, okay, great. Do you have any events coming up that utilize speakers? Okay, awesome. And how often does this event happen? Okay, great. Does this event happen annually? Okay, perfect. Who have you enjoyed working with in the past? I know there's a lot of great people in the industry who have students responded favorably to. Sometimes I know those folks and I can give you a gauge of my style versus what they're already used to see if it'll be a good fit. Now, why do you ask something like that? You want to know their budget. The easiest way to find out someone's budget is to see the other speakers that they hire, because speakers aren't some speakers are more transparent than others with their budgets. And if they use an agent, it's even easier to find out what their rates are. And so you want to speak where high caliber speakers speak. And just pro tip, if you're in the college market, I have found that state universities have larger budgets than private colleges, which may or may not be intuitive to you based on your experience in the industry, but that is just what I have found. So when you're pitching schools, the size of the school matters. Whether it's state funded matters, whether the school has multiple campuses matter, because your potential for booking multiple campuses goes way up. So you want to think through all of those things. It's very, very, very important to think through all of those different things. But in terms of your strategy, that cold email should be resulting in a call, and that call is your opportunity to close. Now, I've done a lot of sales calls. Traditionally, it takes a few calls before you get to the close. I've had one call that resulted in a close right away, but that happened because she had done her own research on me before we even spoke. So when I got on the call, she was like, oh no, I've already called Northwestern. I called Emory. I called all the other schools you've spoken at. They all said the same thing. We want to hire you. It's just a matter of like what the budget is and we can make it work. And so that was an easy call, but that is not what I expect. What I expect is to do the initial call. And on that initial call, I send them a follow-up for a follow-up call while we're on the phone. So it's not like, oh yeah, I'll send you an email next month and then I'll follow up. No, I send the invite then. I just update the invite from our first call to whatever our follow-up call date is, because typically they need to find, they need to find out whether they can bring me in, because my budget is sometimes higher than what they are authorized to approve without any outside approval, if that makes sense. So some schools can bring in a speaker for less than $2,000 without, any outside approval, but they can't do over $5,000 without an outside approval. That means you need to follow up. So think through that as well. How are you going to follow up? What's your process for that? Making sure you have a written down process in place so that you follow it every single time. So hopefully this was helpful on cold emailing. I know that, emailing now is a little bit saturated. So I'm now doing a lot more with mailing things off. I'm in an accelerator program. There's a dope woman in there named Morgan. She's killing it. And she does a lot of handwritten notes to decision makers in order to get her clients done. And her business is approaching 7 figures if it hasn't already reached it. So that's something to think about as well. And it's something that I'm implementing. I'm always learning about how to improve my sales process. I consider myself a sales person. However, if I don't master sales, if I don't master the art of connecting, I can't speak. I love to speak. I love getting on stages. It is what I believe, in part, I was placed on this earth to do. But if I cannot get on the stages that I need to get on because I can't sell, because I don't have a sales process, it just won't happen. So the reason why I look at these stats, I share these stats with you all, I look at my numbers, I share my numbers with you all, is because I want you to know where I'm coming from. And then being transparent is just best. So if you like the way I rock, you like the way I roll, you should work with me. If you don't, you should not, right? Like and you should not, but you should still listen to the podcast because you're still going to get value from it. There's no way you can't. It's good, accurate information. But I do think that you should think of yourself a little bit differently. If you are I'm a lawyer as well. I'm a lawyer, but if I don't sell legal services, I'm not helping anyone with my law degree. You have to see yourself as a sales professional. Act ethically, act to serve. Sales is service for me. So I'm not selling people on things that they don't need or that they can't benefit from. When I go to schools, I am changing lives, period. That's my mission there. When I go to corporations, I am changing corporate cultures, period. That's my mission there. And all of that is great. It's great work. It's good work. It's needed work. But if I don't sell, I don't get the work. So you want to think of yourself as a sales professional. You want to know your numbers, your sales numbers. You want to know your open rates. You want to know whether the content you're sending out isn't working and why, so you can fix it, so you can get to the missional element of your business. All of our businesses as speakers has a missional element. I've talked to thousands of speakers at this point through this podcast, and I get your emails at admin@passionpurposeandpaychecks.com. Any of you can email me anytime. I get your emails, and all of you have a missional element. You want to do something to change lives. You want to get on stages to impact people. Well, this is what it takes to do that on a large scale. So I do this podcast to show you guys these strategies so that you can implement on a large scale. Now, if you want speaking to be your business, you want it to be something that you don't just do for fun, but you do for real, then I'd recommend that you join the From Pitch to Paid challenge. It starts next week. So you don't have long. It starts next Monday. So this comes out and it starts the following Monday. It starts March 2nd, 2020. Because who knows when you may be listening to this 2025 and you're like, Monday, what? No, you missed it. But it starts March 2nd, 2020. So go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/FromPitchToPaid. AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/FromPitchToPaid. All right. AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/FromPitchToPaid. Okay. Pitch to Paid. FromPitchToPaid. All right. AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/FromPitchToPaid. So you go there, you sign up for the challenge. 5 trainings under $10 each. 5 days straight, action guides each day. We're going to get you pitching. This is for people who are like, I'm pitching, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. I feel like I'm in a rut. I know I can learn something from you. I'm not at the level yet where I'm going to invest hundreds or thousands of dollars in working with you or coming to one of your events yet. because if you're serious, you'll meet me in Chicago in October for the retreat. But if you're not there yet, this is a great way to dip your toe in, see what I'm all about, and learn how to pitch appropriately in some real deal, quick, easy to implement strategies. That's what we're focusing on. Quick, easy to implement strategies that you can use to get your pitch game up and start getting paid. All right. It is called Speak Your Way to Cash after all. So join the From Pitch to Paid challenge. It's outstanding. We did it last year on a smaller scale. This year we are charging for it so that I can work with the people who really want to get it done. And I'm excited about it. So AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/FromPitchToPaid. Join us. Do not miss this boat. And I will talk to you guys soon. So I'm doing these solo episodes because they're action-packed and filled with info, but we do have some interviews coming up. So hang on if you're like, oh, Ashley, I don't want to hear from you all the time. Where are those people you used to interview? They're coming back. All right. Bear with me. And I want to talk to you guys solo before my maternity leave. But don't worry. While I'm on leave, we'll still have great content and things that are popping off for you guys. But wish me well. I'm due May 2020 with my baby girl. And I'm just so thrilled to be a mom. And I'll tell you this. I don't know why, but being pregnant has totally reinvigorated my businesses. Like, I was pregnant. I was like, oh no, strategy has to be on 1,000,000. Like I'm like hosting events for HR directors, speaking to more clients than I've ever spoken to before, getting booked out, developing long-term programs, making money in my business. I'm just like, I'm about to be somebody's mama. I feel like Cardi B. My cheese needs an egg or whatever that line is. Never mind. But yeah, guys. Okay, so now I'm rambling. I'm going to go, but hopefully you're enjoying these episodes. We're going to do another one that talks about freebies for corporations and how to connect with them. A lot of us separate, corporations and college advisors from other avenues, but I think those organizations also like freebies that are done well. And we're going to talk through how you can capitalize on that and what that looks like. All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. And it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have 2 ways for you to do that. One, you can go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speak Your Way to Cash group, Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show. And I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome day.